édition de Sinafrica. Comme je le dis, we made it. It's the second edition. And that's a fantastic thing, as we say. Donc, c'est merveilleux. Ça prouve la volonté de nos jeunes, la volonté de l'Afrique et la volonté de tout membre et ambassadeur du CDA pour continuer la digitalisation et l'intégration du digital dans notre belle Afrique, mais aussi notre ouverture sur le monde, notre connexion avec tout le monde de par ce globe. Donc, merci à tous. Je vais switcher en anglais parce que cette année, nous avons décidé d'avoir 2 langues et chaque année, on va essayer d'intégrer un tout petit peu plus. Vous pouvez voir que les modalités de comment on va faire ces panels ont été un peu changées et donc on espère que ça va aider l'intégration de plus de jeunes, d'idées nouvelles et aussi ça va nous aider de faire de petits pas pour faire un grand changement. Parce que tout commence avec un tout petit changement pour faire plusieurs belles choses. Et Dr Touré, et tout à l'heure, Madame la Ministre, et tous les intervenants ont proposé de belles initiatives et ont aussi montré, comme on dit en anglais, un commitment, un engagement pour cette transformation digitale. Mbaranga, good morning, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Everybody who is joining us, welcome for this second edition of Scene Africa. This is fantastic. This is the continuous part of our journey. Even sometimes people don't see how behind the scenes happens. And I was saying the other day to the task force that is working behind Scene Africa, but also working behind CDA as a think tank in general, that we soon will be sharing numbers about all the great events, and I cannot thank enough the people who are working behind the scenes, who are putting a lot of effort. And of course, first and foremost, Amadou with his exceptional leadership and networking, and Jibril, thank you for all the work you have done so far. So I do know usually we thank people at the end, but I like to thank people up front. And that is very important because behind every single sessions, workshops we have provided all along this year, there were many people working. And of course, I'm so delighted that Rashid and Maya have been working both in this task force and have made this happen. So, Mbaranga, thank you again. And our topic for this second part of the opening ceremony is AI and global governance. Today, we can no longer say that artificial intelligence is an option to our life. It's changing, but for now, we are more users. And when we are a user who is not conscious about what's happening, when we are a user who do not understand how things are working, it is a little bit tricky. So we need some guidance. We need to feel safe when we use artificial intelligence for our day-to-day life. We need to make sure that our data is secure. We want to make sure that our youth, when they are studying through these things, or when they are integrated these through phones or others, and we will get then to the challenges of having AI implemented in Africa. We want to make sure that we have the framework to ensure that it's secure, because this is a topic about AI and governance globally and how it applies to Africa. So I'll just turn it to you to kind of give a sense of how important it is today to have a framework about global governance and AI globally. Thank you, Mbaranga.
Merci beaucoup, Imen. Je vais tourner en anglais tout à l'heure, mais je voulais souligner l'importance du CDI parce qu'on parle de l'Afrique. L'Afrique n'est pas seulement francophone, c'est aussi anglophone, c'est arabophone. Et je pense qu'en évoluant et en parlant de l'Afrique, on aura touché déjà tous les Africains qui parlent différentes langues. J'étais approché hier sur LinkedIn par des jeunes experts qui sont connectés de Nigeria, qui viennent de créer une NGO et qui touche beaucoup de domaines sur l'artificial intelligence, mais qui est en train de faire une plateforme en anglais, un peu comme Amadou est en train de le faire. Et j'espère qu'on va connecter tous ces jeunes-là pour que justement on puisse avoir une plateforme dynamique. And I switch in English just to address those young people, and not only young, but also adults, who are connected through this platform. And we're talking about Africa, but Africa is one continent composed by different people, different population with different language. I wish that we can speak one language which is not a colonial language, like French or English, but maybe only one, which everybody can understand. Is a dream. Maybe it's going to happen. So just to turn about this subject, so I really wanted to suggest this subject because it's so difficult. AI is considered as an effective tool to solve most of problems around the world. The risk to address to ensure that AI stays under human control and serve people around the world is critical. And no one solution exists that fits all. I have tried to see different studies and different people expressed the subject on AI and the global governance. I came up with Microsoft once, where they were just wondering how they can bring this global governance. And Brad Smith, actually the vice president of Microsoft, he just addressed, in fact, it's also, you can see it on YouTube. He just said, AI, what can we learn from the past? What is applicable for the new issue of global governance? And he brought some experts sitting together to get some lessons of different fields, learn from global governance in other fields like atomic energy, like civil aviation, climate science, finance services, and other fields that involve governance in countries around the world. But then they just figured out that all these researchers, all these scientific people, that what works well and take common lesson to apply broadly that is not existing because we have blocks. AI is coming as a fantastic tool to present some challenges and opportunities. In one field, we tried to look at what they came up with that study, and they tried to see the goals of governance. If we're trying to find accessibility or safety standard or technology which can move from country to country, and they recognize that the context matters. The goals in a country and technology varies from country to country. The stakeholders, not only government, private sector, civil society, different stakeholders have the interest which matters. And the great model of technology change, the context change and evolve. Regulation different from country to country evolve. Technology cannot move from one country to another depending on on governance, and policy in one country differs from another. So it depends on the context of the country. It depends on the goals, what the country wants to evolve, the strategy they evolve. However, they came up saying that evolution of governance, because things evolve and technology evolves, economy evolves, things are agile, and the new nuance exists. So what we see is the interest of different groups of countries, the combination of effort, the new approach, the new standard, organization, and how people try to put it together. So if we say, and there is a fantastic magic, if you are interested by the subject, you see there's one graph which shows who's really governing globally the artificial intelligence. I think Amadou Touré in his intervention has talked about it. There's a big power who really take it as, who are much advanced on the subject. And that's why some of them who are very clever, and that we're talking now about ethics, but some government, unfortunately, especially in Africa and the global south, are not aware of that. You are coming with a charming way of saying, oh, let me help you. Let me help you to set up your policy. And the data you are collecting is not belonging to the country. It's belonging to the one who's developing the data, who's developing that strategy, who's developing the policy. So somehow, in distance, it can govern you. It can just take you and influence your policy, whatever you are establishing. And that's what ethics we're talking about. So they really wanted to have as AI is becoming increasingly important in today's world, it has a potential to revolutionize many industries, including healthcare. We talk about that. We talk about finance, education, the more sector. But the use of AI has already improved efficiently, reduced cost, increasing accuracy in various sectors. But there is therefore a need for AI and global governance to focus on the terms and the collaboration, and but the most important, understanding. If you are coming to help me, who's behind? Who do I have in a country? Who understands what you are doing? And this is why I think education is key, is training. Email, you remember when I was in Boston recently, when I came to Health International School, that's where I met the email. I went to MIT. MIT has a fantastic, but in medicine, they're doing about artificial intelligence in the medicine. It's amazing to see who are there, who are attending. Most of the people who are attending were Japanese, were Chinese, and South Korea. And I was amazed to chat with the students to see amazingly what the goal they have, learning, acquiring this much of knowledge they can get from MIT, but go home and develop their own strategy, they develop the policy. Are we doing the same? This session is really how do we create awareness of who's bringing that knowledge in Africa, who's bringing the country, and how, if you have a chance like Rwanda or Mali, to have this awareness, how do you bring also other countries who are not aware of that, and bring like an approach of regional approach. I know that the African Union is also having a conversation on that, but where are we? And how are we advancing? So the globalization is the key. It drives large-scale structure change and disruption of decay. And some people now, we are even looking, they are losing jobs via automation. There is rapid productivity growth. And the hard job, the one who possesses technology, the one who really, come on, the TRFCL. So it's really a key to understand that this global governance is not existing, but it's really how you are clever to have that collaboration, partnership for someone who's much advanced, but how also you bring your own one. So effective AI governance promotes fairness, ensure data privacy, enable organizations to mitigate the risk, and the importance of AI governance cannot be overstated as it serves to safeguard against potential misuse of artificial intelligence, protect the stakeholders' interests, and foster user trust and in artificial intelligence-driven solution. So one also approach I saw that was also done by Charterhouse, they also had the same conversation, and that was very interesting. It was a 90 researcher and different from different countries, from different backgrounds. And one African who was among those researchers is the one who really emphasized on ethics. And when he talks about ethics and inclusiveness, this is what I said in the introduction. It's really stuck me in my attention, because even myself, I was not wondering it. Think about it. You have your data. We have big research institute in a given country. And that data is someone who's coming to show you how to do that, but you have also young people who are clever to do that. However, those data and the innovation you want to bring in a country are not adapted in your country. And I think one person was telling us an anecdote about Tesla. He said when Tesla was developed, most of data were given, and then to see like if you approach an individual, the car stops itself. But the data was given. I don't know if the anecdote is true or not, but the data they put in was that if you have like a white person, it's gonna stop. But if you have like a black person or another color, it's not going to stop, because the data you put it will not be that. It was kind of anecdote he was using to show the importance of data you are putting in the system. And that's why he said there's a large collection of Western studies and the data collection. And I think the Minister of Guinea has said that the protection is the key. The ethic is key. The inclusiveness is the key. If we understand those three, then we can develop our own ethics, the context, the data, the policy, and make sure that whoever is going to work with you It's going to have that matter of governance, but we understand each other. Don't swallow everything just bringing because the people have money and they're bringing it as like a gift. The recent, we mentioned also that the United Nations, they've set up this the high-level committee of digital governance. And if you want to learn more about that, please read that book about the governance and the AI transformation. It's very interesting because it shows how, at least, if the bloc of the countries can get together and discuss about the matter, the subject, this is the ethics, you come to help me, but we have to make sure that you don't cross the road, you don't cross the red line. The common goals and the cooperation is needed badly. And the responsibility of giving country, of giving, of course, the importance of the field you're going to develop, it has to have the stakeholders from the nation, from the country, who understand what we're talking about. Our culture, our economy, our social dimension, our culture, our religion, by the way, our language. All this has to put together to make sure that really we are not really importing something which is not going to serve our own population. And if dominated by major power, and that was the justice system was on that, AI development is creating a new form of digital colonization. When I was talking about digital colonialism, it's particularly in Africa and the other part of the global south. That draft, unfortunately, I couldn't put it just on a screen, but that draft was definitely showing that if you look at the European Union, if you look at the US, you look at Asia, you look at some major countries, 7 of them, they are much advanced in artificial intelligence and what they call global governance. And thinking that they can import those, common governance issue to the rest of the country who are not aware of that. And this is why I think when we talk about Africa and the rest of they use global south, but I may say the rest of the world who are not very much advanced in technology and thinking about artificial intelligence. This is where we now, all this we've been talking about during the introduction, data, the context, the policy, the ethics has to be there. But I think it's the Tora who was talking earlier, was talking about the importance of, it's like being an alphabet, there's an alphabetism in AI, but how can we put it in a level where people can understand, I think, the ABC of artificial intelligence and make sure that is not something which is totally difficult, but how you put it. I hope that, Imen, when you're going to discuss in your session, because I saw that you're going to touch it about it, you may address that one, because I think it's a very important, how people are not afraid of learning the ABC of artificial intelligence understanding and helping the country and the context of the region we are in to really develop this awareness. The last thing I was going to say, I don't know if you have some friends from Senegal, please help me to see if it's true and really debate that. I saw that the Senegal was adopting the Chinese model for digital sovereignty by localizing government data onto domestic server. Is it true or not? Senegal new a national data center opened in 2021 was Chinese built. Is this any home ground solution on how Senegalese are just maintaining it? I really want to just put it because I saw it in the one study, but I want to provoke that, maybe doing example Senegal or another country, and provoking this discussion about how we have our governance and therefore our regional governance, and therefore to evolve to the global governance. That my presentation was really not provocating actually, and trying to see how we are evolving in this world, which is a very difficult one. And if I evolve into the field I have been really following very closely, is the current geopolitical landscape we are living in, how the conflicts are evolving and affecting a large number of the countries. The use of innovative tools and with high technology, the drone, the weapon, the information flow, the cyber security, when you think about it, it's really getting a kind of scaring. We used to have a war when people would fight each other like this, but today we see what's happening in Lebanon and Israel, the war of the drones. So this is also showing that artificial intelligence is evolving, is becoming a big tool, but this big tool also can be scaling. How do we address it in a way, as the high-level advisory panel committee put it in the governance and the artificial intelligence for humanity? They put it very well, and they say, if we have to recommend, they conclude on that. If we have to make recommendation and roadmap needed for given challenges, some effort on governance, approach on some AI, on digital technology around the world, why is it critical for they don't take this on? The question to the high-level panel was raised. Why UN? Only global organization that has demanded to gather all nations around the table and no single nation left behind. However, we know that will be maybe talk. The importance of awareness, of inclusiveness, human rights, ethics is what matters. And then each country will definitely look at itself and say, I need this, and then I can collaborate that. The most major things which emerged was collaboration, partnership, ethic, inclusiveness, and thinking that definitely tomorrow is another world. It's just a world which has a lot of challenges, opportunities, but also which presents some risk. How a country government will be accountable to its population, the stakeholders, the private sector, the civil society. If AI tech is imported, designed, implemented without any simple consideration of its goals, who's the goalkeeper? Who's also the one who has to look at what's happening in my country? Who's designing? And it has also some implication, by the way, on political and economic and social context. Who's the lead master of such technology that affects the life of people? That's my question to you. By concluding that the need for awareness, education, training, learning, knowledge, design, implementation, collaboration, understand own goals and accordingly act. Knowing that technology is borderless, it splits, there is no illusion that one state or group of states could control it indefinitely, while understanding that artificial intelligence is bringing a huge opportunity, is also a must to pay attention to the risk and what it can cause if not properly addressed. I conclude this by thanking immensely the organizer of this session, because it's bringing some of the key questions we cannot address if we don't gather our knowledge to address it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you, Mbaranga. Definitely, you touched point on a very, very interesting aspects, and I would love to have your vision. And we're also trying. We just shared the link about the United Nations model for AI governance that was recently developed a couple weeks ago. We're just ask for participant please to make sure that the mics are muted so we can continue our session. Okay, great. That's what happened for online. So just to continue on that, Mbaranga, I was just referring to the UN AI governance framework that came a couple weeks ago. And I did share the link so people can also follow the news with us. So it's such an important framework to be shared, which is governing AI for humanity. That was the title of the framework, and its importance because just as you mentioned, it emphasized the importance of having humans part and foremost at the center of a governance framework. And to make it also very simplified, because governance per se, sometimes we think about it exclusively from the policy side or the fact that it's only an elitist things that people will just do in desks. But governance is bottom up. It's not only top down. So we need to get more people involved, because by the end of the day, these are the rules. This is the how and the why. Certain people would get access to data or not. This is how we could manage. I would not use the word here manipulate, because technically it means another thing. It's not wrong things. And also how disinformation could get in there. So it's really very complex. And I believe it would be great to have your thoughts on the proposed model that is called human AI governance, as like governing AI for humanity, which was the framework of the United Nations, and how you perceive this. And then I will have an anecdote also about how the AI systems works, just to like point to the specific example you gave about the Tesla.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ime. I think I really recommend that people can read it, because this high-level panel is composed by, of course, different researchers, different experts. They don't have the whole knowledge, but at least they're addressing some of the issues. And I think by bringing that initiative, it's because it was just seen that but by the way, in 2017, the Secretary General was initiating it, I think, for addressing that issue on climate science. But evolved now with the new technology, exactly like what I say, peace and security and the global, challenge we are facing, but also global opportunities. That's how it just came up saying, oh my goodness, let's just address it, because the ethics must be something which has to be emphasized. That people are going to control and the people are going to talk about subjects which other people don't understand. And I think for what they call it, the governing artificial intelligence for humanity, we are bringing the humanity in the center of the debate. We're not talking about just the power, one country which can dominate others, or what people call digital colonization. It's just saying that, if we have 194 countries in the United Nations, at least they can come up with some of the issues, they can come up together. Like when we talk about the climate is a planet is the one place we live in. If we don't protect it, we're going to all die. And I think that was bringing that humanity in the table and saying, definitely artificial intelligence is a big tool, is an innovative tool. It can be absolutely benefit for humanity, but it can also destroy humanity. And I think that was really one of the key subjects they just want to put on. And of course, emphasizing that issue. But also, I think calling different countries around the table, and that was very interesting, because Africa, everybody was represented around the table, and it was just awareness of, wake up, don't think that A is going to come and help you. It's going to help you on this innovation, but be aware on they are developing, they're designing, and how they're going to implement it. I think was really the key issue.
Yeah. And this is really interesting, and we do have one of our own ambassador working on AI for humanity. There are many efforts happening nowadays in Africa as well about it. But it's really very important to say, even things are developing towards more autonomy and having certain tasks that will be getting away. It's really key to like highlight the importance of humans, their creativity, the fact that it's not one or the other, it's both together. It's very, very important to have that aspects with us. I know we're trying to showcase that these frameworks are there just to help us, and it doesn't mean that we just take them as is. There is always a twist. And Mbaranga yourself mentioned earlier that whenever we have a technology or other, we need to adapt it to our context. And you highlighted the importance of context. So I just want to echo the importance of that. And in regards, you mentioned earlier the example of Tesla. So somehow it's not a wrong or correct like example when it comes to that. Thank you, Jabril. As you can see, this is the recommendation from the UN in regards of AI governance. I really appreciate that. Basically, here you could see the recommendations, and we have also shared
some of the recommendations coming here were also the basically the encourage collaboration, address inclusiveness and the human rights and ethics. It's four. This is just current effort, but if you read it, we find those key messages. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Jabri, again for that. That I also posted that link so our audience can read the whole report. And there is the framework and the importance of having the different elements to it. But in regards of the AI ethics and how it actually perceive and analyze data, and you were giving earlier a specific example about MIT and how people are getting knowledge. I wanted to share with you, and that will resonate, Mbaranga, and get your thoughts. There is a research going that has been going, led by Dr. Joy. She is an AI specialist, and she's known for her book Unmasking AI. And basically, this book tells, as she was doing her research about computer vision at MIT, right? She has discovered that the model was not able to recognize, it was like facial recognitions, and she identifies as African American, and the AI models were not able to capture her face, no recognition.
Yeah.
So that was one of it was an aha moment. So I had the opportunity to meet her in person, and we discussed about it. But like, imagine somebody working over days and nights and months on their own algorithm, right? They have developed it. And then she thought there was a technical issue about it, right? But then her friend that came in realized that no, it was not, the problem was not that, it was just that it could not recognize her face because of how she identifies. So why are we pointing this on AI governance? We're pointing this because it's actually really a tricky thing to have and not talk about it, because behind just the technicality, it's the data that is being trained on. So if we do not take action today in our own region and include ourselves within the loop, we will end up, just like Mbaranga mentioned earlier, using tools that are not designed for us. And it may not stop if it's a car, it may not if it's in the medical field, and we have roundtables later on about AI education, AI in health, AI in development. So if we don't have that, it's critical. It's really critical.
Yeah.
So thoughts, Mbaranga, on that?
Yeah. Amen. Yeah. It has been addressed recently on pharmacy. It was one of the big pharmaceutical leader who was telling us that for the cancer, like the breast cancer, most of the data they have and the medicine they have is done on the such white people. And they were saying, I need you, African or whatever, to develop. Is there any center of research which can develop this, like the data or the such, like the such, la peau of a black person, and then we can develop the medicine which will be adequately adapted to that one. Can you imagine? So that maybe some of the medicine we are using is done not properly because the research done and other things are done elsewhere. So this is why this is so. But I put all this because I think we're talking about the knowledge, the training, and I think most of the countries are putting education like these young people are talking about, and all these people are following this conversation. I'm sure they have some experts on that domain, but we really have to know it and see how we can also bring to the attention of our stakeholders.
Yeah, indeed. And as you can say, and this is why I started today by thanking first before, as I always speak, like we had the list of things that would needs to be shared, and in the back, Jabri just shared also with us the unmasking AI. It's very important to be aware of what's happening about this research, because the part of governance, as Mbaranga has highlighted earlier, and we can't emphasize it enough, it's really key to understand what's going on elsewhere and to what extent it could be connected to us. And especially when it comes to sensitive matters, such as the healthcare that you were sharing just now, Mbaranga. If we want to be able to leverage this technology, this advancement, we need to also be part of the game. We are the actors and we should act. So basically, not just consume or use, but understand the limitation of the technology, understand how it works, and that gets to being educated about it. So the first thing, as you mentioned, is like the awareness of the technology to be in there, making sure that we have
Le français, je peux avoir la version française.
On peut le mettre en français, conclure en français? Oui. Tu peux résumer en français pour les autres?
Ah oui, je peux résumer en français, pas de problème. Donc, par rapport, c'est vraiment par rapport à la gouvernance, il y a plusieurs éléments dont nous devons, que nous devons prendre en considération, notamment c'est la prise de conscience, donc c'est ça l'awareness, la prise de conscience que ces technologies existent, mais non seulement ils existent, nous devons savoir comment ils marchent. Nous devons vraiment savoir les aléas autour de ces technologies, mais aussi comprendre l'importance de comment on arrive à par exemple, faire de notre data une data qui est prise en considération dans les modèles. Et là, c'est critique parce que si la data qui représente
les données,
voilà les données, merci beaucoup Mbaranga. Donc, on ne va pas pouvoir maximiser l'utilisation de ces frameworks ou de ces outils-là. Mais si on les prend en considération, si on arrive vraiment à avoir nos données qui font partie, voilà, de cette décision, nous allons pouvoir justement nous intégrer et utiliser ce qui va se passer next. Mais ça vient aussi avec un point que tout à l'heure Mbaranga avait mentionné, qui est aussi la sécurité, et Dr Touré avait mentionné ça aussi, l'importance de prendre en considération la partie sécuritaire. Et justement, quand on dit notre data, on doit la prendre en considération, ça ne veut pas dire qu'on va donner toutes nos data, mais au moins que nous sommes pris dans cette partie et que nous faisons partie de la global governance, donc de la gouvernance globale mondiale. Et comme Mbaranga avait dit, il n'y a pas une seule gouvernance aujourd'hui qu'on va utiliser, c'est juste que c'est des efforts un peu partout pour s'aligner, pour optimiser comment la chose est. Donc, peut-être on a l'occasion, s'il y a quelqu'un qui a des questions, parce que nous avons littéralement 2 minutes avant qu'on clôture notre partie par rapport à cette communication. On peut accepter les questions en français, en anglais, des clarifications. Sinon, dernier mot à toi, Mbaranga, par rapport à ça.
Moi, je résume parce que pourquoi apporter le sujet de global governance and artificial intelligence? C'était pour qu'on puisse se rendre compte que il y a, comme le docteur Touré l'a bien dit, il y a tellement de grandes sociétés, de grandes puissances qui sont très avancées sur l'artificial intelligence, et il y en a d'autres qui sont comme des bébés, on commence à peine, et c'est très facile de dire je vais t'aider, je viens t'aider. c'est vraiment, je vais souligner là-dessus, je viens t'aider pour établir une grande compagnie chez toi. Ce sera sur la science et technologie, ce sera un laboratoire, ce sera ceci, cela. Je vais faire mes recherches sur place, chez toi, mais ces données, je les récolte et je les emmagasine chez moi. Alors, je pense que c'est ces négociations que nous devons mener en tant qu'Africains. Tu viens m'aider, c'est très bien. Tu viens aussi, on collabore, parce qu'il y a le mot collaboration, partnership. On est dans tous les domaines, que ce soit, on a parlé de la médecine et de l'éducation, de la technologie, dans l'agrobusiness, dans l'énergie, etc. On ne possède pas tout, mais il y en a qui sont très avancés, qui vont même dans l'espace. Sachant au moins comprendre. Et si on ne comprend pas, qu'on puisse maintenant mettre beaucoup d'accent dans l'éducation, que nos enfants aujourd'hui, et c'est ce que vous êtes en train de faire au niveau du CDI, créer ce sens de prise de conscience. Mais en même temps, ce Chinois, ce Japonais, ce South-Coréen qui est à MIT, il a le même brain qu'un Africain, etc. Qu'on puisse mettre aussi l'accent sur nos enfants qui brillent, les talents, et qu'on les amène là-bas, et qu'ils puissent aller aussi dans des universités qui innovent. Et revenir chez soi, alors là, c'est motivation, on entre vraiment dans la gouvernance nationale, où est-ce qu'on met l'accent. Mais je pense que ce n'est pas une illusion de penser que demain après-demain, c'est ce qui va gouverner le monde. Donc, il faut qu'on soit à l'avance et qu'on comprenne un peu ces enjeux. Et deuxièmement, l'accent qui est mis dans ce rapport de AI Governance and Humanity, c'est mettre l'accent sur qu'on est des humains qui doivent collaborer, qui doivent comprendre qu'il y a les droits humains et que si on est dans l'éthique et dans l'inclusiveness, on doit partager. Bon, ça sonne un peu d'illusion parce qu'il y a beaucoup d'intérêts en jeu. Néanmoins, qu'on puisse avoir vraiment des gens. En fait, c'est vraiment mettre la gouvernance en avant sur la prise de conscience de ces enjeux et de comment on peut tomber facilement sous la coupole des autres si on ne prête pas attention. Voilà le résumé. Merci.
Oui, mais merci beaucoup, Mbaranga. Je pense que vous avez vraiment tout dit sur l'importance de la gouvernance, le système de gouvernance globale. Le fait est que tout le monde a vraiment besoin de s'engager, de faire beaucoup plus de recherches, de vraiment comprendre le système, comment ça marche. Et just to honor, donc our session elle est en anglais, donc je vais faire le mot de clôture en anglais pour honorer la partie que oui, on a dit que ça va être en anglais. So thank you very much again, Mbaranga, for the insightful discussions that we had today about AI and global governance. This is just the beginning of such an amazing topic. Just please stay tuned, because in the coming days, months, we'll continue this discussion. It's not a discussion only for Africa. It's a global thing. It's an urgent topic that all the sectors, whether it's finance, healthcare, life science, everybody is talking about it nowadays. Agriculture, everybody. It's really for everyone and everybody. We all need to be aware of the importance of it, and we need to understand our role, how things are working. And this is a great transition for our next roundtable that will talk about ethics, donc les défis éthiques et sociaux de l'IA en Afrique. What great transition pour ça. Thank you very much, Mbaranga. And please, everybody stay tuned. We'll continue this. Restez en ligne pour notre prochaine table ronde. Mbaranga, merci encore. À très, très bientôt. À très vite. Merci. Merci tout le monde.